flying over the beautiful city of Valencia, Dumaguete, in the Philippines. In this video, I will interview the most famous YouTube storyteller, 𝐷𝐿, Paul, and his beautiful wife today with Baby Mae. So let's get started. This is Chang from Hobo Venture, and today I'm so delighted to have two famous YouTubers in my small channel. Welcome, 𝐷𝐿 and Baby Mae.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you so
having us.
much.
Thank you so much.
For inviting me.
Thank you for showing up. One thing is we have things in common because our relationship both have a huge age gap.
Yes.
Yes, right. People in the West will come and, when they see us, they will say, why they are together?
Mm-hmm.
But this is a different world here. And can you explain or give some answer to my audience why the relationship is work well in here?
Baby Mae, what do you think? Why do you have a 30-year age gap between us, 31?
Yeah. Because first time I met him,
Yes.
I falling in love. Yeah. That time
Very
I met
nice.
in the bus station.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I falling in love.
But she's wanting to know why that was. You don't look at age?
No.
Okay.
For me, it's not doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very important love and love and caring and attitude.
Oh, that's very good. Attitude is number one, even to me.
Attitude is, yeah.
Yeah, when I date a guy, I will date them in a restaurant, and I will notice them and see them how they treat the waitress.
Exactly. That is exactly true. You can tell so much by how a person behaves
Yes.
in public
Yes.
towards the so-called subordinates.
Yes.
Right? Those that are serving the water or bringing the food.
Yes.
How do they talk to them? How do they treat them?
Yes.
That's their true colors.
Without them consciously knowing or showing them.
That's
Because they'll
true.
put what we call putting on the dog.
Yeah.
You know, they say they're so sweet to you and everything's
Yes.
fine, and then the waiter interrupts and they're rude to them. That's their real personality.
That's true.
And so I think that when it came to her and I and the age gap, she was really lucky. No.
Both lucky.
I think both is very lucky.
She's a big winner. I mean, who wouldn't love this?
Yeah, very handsome.
I think she in love with you as you are a very humble guy, as we have talked a few times.
Right.
And you are very loving and caring to her, and you guide her into her life.
Yeah, well, you know what is mutual respect
Yes.
is so important, and handsome or beautiful, this or that, that wears thin over time. If the
That's
person is cruel, or if they're angry all the time, or if they're unhappy, or they have bad habits or poor hygiene even. I mean,
Yes.
these are the sort of things that we look at, and those are the real important issues of life. Age gap is only really kind of weird in America because for years there's been big age gaps throughout the centuries. Older men with younger women have been more of the norm, and it's just recently that's become sort of a misnomer. And so I think it's actually more natural myself. I think the man brings maturity, wisdom, financial stability, much more than a younger guy can. And the younger guy, God bless him, he's finding his way through life. He's working on his career. He's developing his skills or
Yes.
lack of.
Yes.
And I think what a woman looks for is not just financial stability, but they're also looking for emotional stability. They're looking
True.
for mutual respect. They're looking
True.
for love. And I'm kind of speaking for Mae, but that's what she's communicated to me.
Oh,
And so I think that's what we bring to the party.
it's very good. It seems like me and Dan as well.
It must be, because I'm looking at him. It's not pretty.
You both have a very successful YouTube channel. Can you tell us about your channel?
Yeah. Well, what about your channel, May?
Yes.
How did you start your channel?
Yeah.
Cooking.
Cooking. Yeah, the only problem was she doesn't know how to cook.
Only Filipino food.
But is it you want to start a YouTube channel or someone encouraged you to start a YouTube channel?
My husband encouraged me.
Oh, it's very nice.
First time I'm shy in the camera.
But I really admire your courage. It's very well done. I don't have that kind of courage to speak in front of camera.
If I can brag on her a little bit, if that's
Yeah.
okay. When we first met, she was actually kind of like trying to get me to stop doing YouTube.
Oh.
Because she actually was very private, still is, very private. She just wanted it to be just about us, and YouTube was almost kind of a threat to some degree.
Yes.
And it frightened her because she's a province girl.
She wasn't aware of media and social media.
Yeah.
For her, it had always been a destructive force.
Women have the ability, or not the ability, but they have the canvas to attack each other online.
Yes.
They don't go. If I have an altercation with a guy, it can go to blows, and that's okay. You know, we can duke it out, and a lot of guys do. And then after it's over with, there's a winner, there's a loser, and they say, okay, well that's over with. And they go have a beer together. Women tend to do character assassination on social media because they don't go to blows.
Yeah.
And so she had a lot of that experience with women being jealous of her, or women being envious of her for whatever reason, or they're just catty to begin with. And so she was very shy when it came to social media. When I was on the channel, I would invite her for months. Please, why don't you join me on the couch? And she'd say no, and I never pressured her.
Oh.
And then one day, she just said, okay, I'm going to sit with you and do
Right.
it. And we sat down, and God's truth, once it was done, here's what happened. We read the comments, and I think the first comment said, wow, Paul, your girlfriend is so beautiful. That killed it right there. She's just like, I'm in. I like that feedback.
That's good.
And so I'll tell you a little story behind that. I don't want to dominate this, but I think it's just cute. Is we were doing, every now and then she'd jump on the channel with me, and we'd have this and we would do that.
Yes.
And there was one morning where I fell, or one evening where I fell asleep on the couch. May was in the bedroom. And when she woke up that day, she came waltzing out of the bedroom, and she had a camera and a tripod and a microphone. And I said, what are you doing? And she said, YouTube. And I said, when did you make a YouTube channel? She said, last night.
Wow.
I said, oh, okay. I said, what are you going to do? She said, cooking. I said, far out. So I just sat on the couch and watched her with the tripod and the microphone and everything you can imagine going wrong, and her talking, hi guys, and I forget all the details, but she was cooking something.
Wow.
And while she was cooking it in the pan, the camera was on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And it was just, if it could go wrong, it could. And to me, it's just one of those memories that I'll never forget.
Very
It
sweet
was
one.
just like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Not the fact that she goofed up the video the first time around. That's no big deal. It's just the fact that one day she just did the flip, and she said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a channel. I want to get out of my comfort zone. And ever since then, I've had the privilege and the honor of watching my now wife grow
That's true.
as a human and get away from the fear, the anxiety,
Yes.
the angst, and just put it out there. And she's learned over time, as I have, is that it's just words. It's just, if you get a negative comment or you get negative feedback, it's just words. And the one word I told her was ignore.
Yeah.
Just ignore. Before, when she got the first negative comment, she was in tears.
Yeah.
And the second negative and the third, they would bash her
I understand
or
that.
troll her.
Yeah.
And now she looks at those comments and laughs.
Same
You
here.
know? And she goes, I feel bad for that person.
That's
I'm
true.
sorry they are such a bad mood and that
Yeah.
they don't like me. They don't even know me. But that's kind of the genesis of her little channel. Yeah.
It's nice and very sweet, and it's true because those negative things, like at first I also got very angry, upset, but also then time you just ignore them. You don't know
Yeah.
them, they don't know your
Right.
life. Just
Right.
to leave it.
Right. They never walked a mile in her shoes. They never
Yeah.
walked a mile in mine.
Yeah.
I've never walked a mile in theirs. And if someone is that angry, that upset over two people that are just talking about whatever,
Yeah.
then that's the person that we really need to pray for.
That's true.
You know? Forget the comment. That doesn't matter. I feel bad for that guy or that gal.
Yes, and you two just got married. Congratulations again.
Thank
and
you.
you all just went to Thailand a few months ago.
Yes.
And tell us about the differences between I would say, 𝐷𝒍𝒂𝒃 and Phuket.
Okay.
Yes.
Baby Mae, take it away.
Yes.
What do you like about Thailand?
The Thailand is Phuket. I like there because compared in the Philippines, I love Philippines because my country. But Phuket, if you're walking there, wearing the sexy, people there do not care.
Yeah.
Yeah, in here in the Philippines, if you're wearing the sexy, people thinking of bad things.
Yeah.
So that's why I like in Phuket.
Ah.
And then the food I like there. Number one, the food.
Number one was the food.
How
Yeah.
about the language? Do you find that it's easy to speak over there in English or? Not really.
How the English there?
Yeah.
Very little English. Everybody thought she was Thai. And so all these Thai women or men would come up and start talking to her. And she's like, and I said, welcome to being a foreigner, Mae. Now you know how I feel. But she found common ground because she spoke English.
Yes.
They spoke some English, especially in a tourist area where they have it. And she made friends. She made friends with women. They went out on a banana boat. They went out.
Yeah.
They did all kinds of crazy stuff. They rode elephants. They rode go-karts.
Yeah.
They did all this stuff together. And she had this little circle of influence within 72 hours. She had made friends with like 4 or 5 women over there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And
I interviewed in the restaurant.
yeah, she did an interview in a restaurant.
Thailand.
Neither one of them knew what the other one was talking about. It was awesome. It was this interview of just like, nobody knew what they were talking about. They didn't know, but it was a great interview.
Really, I should check out that video. It sounds so interesting. What about you? What you feel the differences between 𝐷𝒍𝒂𝒃 and Phuket? I will not say the whole Philippines or whole Thailand. No, just only
No.
these two places. Yeah.
I was really disappointed by Phuket because that was my origin of Asia, was Phuket. 2005, I visited it. 2009, I lived there for a year, 2009 to 2010, and I loved Thailand back then. I was involved with some people at a church, and I was a real connection there with the people. This time around, it had been devastated by the pandemic.
Oh.
And everybody's attitude was different. They were not nearly as carefree. They were not nearly as friendly. Everything was expensive. People were like really, really hustling and annoying you, and vendors were grabbing you. Where before you could just walk by and say no thank you and they'd leave you alone. Or they'd say, come into our restaurant or they have little signs, you've seen it 100 times. Come by, please come in.
Yes.
And you just say no thank you. Well, then they started to come out into the street and literally pull on us to go in. And so I didn't care for that. I just felt that the people had been damaged to some degree by the pandemic. It had made them more desperate.
Yes.
And I felt sad for them. There was a big influx. It changed a lot, and I think this is actually healthy. There was a lot of 30 and 40-year-old foreigners over there, where prior, when I went there in 5 and in 9, there was a bunch of guys older. I was in my 50s back then, but that was kind of the dynamic, and now it's a much younger crowd that goes there. And I don't relate to that crowd as well, simply because of all the drinking, and they got marijuanas available over there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people getting high, getting drunk. I don't like being around high drunk people. It's just not my thing. And so that kind of took the edge off of it for me. But for her, I had a lot of fun watching it through her eyes. We went through this whole thing, getting her through the airport. That was a nightmare, keeping her from being offloaded. But we got her there, so there was this massive relief. She was able to see the food, the people, and she didn't feel self-conscious about wearing a bikini or wearing a pair of shorts. Or nobody was taking a picture, nobody was bugging her, nobody was talking behind her back, nobody was posting her on Facebook. And so she felt this tremendous amount of freedom.
And the one thing is, we don't understand what they're talking about.
It doesn't matter. Ignorance is bliss, okay? So they could be talking crap about you, and you just go, I'm good with it. Yeah,
that's true. We hear it's hard for a Filipino to leave the Philippines. So did you have a trouble having to leaving the Philippines? Do you have any trouble?
She's talking about when you went through immigration the first time.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah.
I had her watch a bunch of Filipino videos in her own language about being offloaded and getting out of the country. Wow. And she was totally blind to that being a problem. But then she was very cognizant of it after she watched the examples of people getting offloaded, especially women. So the Philippine government is very aware that there's a certain degree of sex trafficking, human trafficking, older man, younger woman, that kind of thing. So we went in guns blazing. We went to an attorney. We had him write up an affidavit. We had a return ticket. We had proof of her that she owned things here that tied her to the community. We had pictures of us dating back almost 4 years, a scrapbook. So it's not like I just met her a week ago and now I'm taking her out of the country. It still took her 90 minutes to get through the interview. And they kept insisting to her that man you're with, because I wasn't married to her, he's paying you to be with him. I said, no, he doesn't. I have my own money. And they said, well, what job did you do? And they said, job? She said, well, I was a caterer, because that's what she was when I met her. She worked for catering. And they said, well, how much do you make catering? She goes, well, I don't make anything now because I'm with him. And they're like, well, that's the point. And she said, well, I have a YouTube channel. And they said, really? Show it to us. She said, I can't because I don't have any internet. And immigration said, we got internet. So they dialed her into the immigration internet. They took her phone, walked away. 2 other immigration women went with them and watched her channel for 30 minutes. Meanwhile, everybody back at the ranch is in line. And she's sitting in the hot seat. And I'm sitting on the other side of the counter, not knowing what's going on. This is 90 minutes, man, of me going, do I need to just eat these tickets and go back to 𝒕𝒍𝒂𝒃 because she didn't make it? And because I was not going to go alone. I was not going to just me go, and even though I needed to leave the country, but for my tourist thing, but I would have gone back with her, and she would have been crushed. I would have been disappointed. We would have been financially hurt and all that. But YouTube saved her life. Yeah. Got her through. Okay, they said, well, okay, we see you have a YouTube channel. Where do you make money? She said, that's easy. And she went to revenue and clicked it. And while she's not getting rich on YouTube, compared to the average salary, she's doing really well. Yeah. And they said, hey, you're making like 3 times as much as we are. And Mae's like, well, that's not my problem. And they begrudgingly said, you know, all right, bring that guy back in here. And they asked me a couple of questions to verify and validate. And they stamped her passport, got on the plane, and we were both just like, wow. We were stressed to the max.
That is very stressful.
It was so
brutal. Have you ever planned, when the time that you know about this thing, have you planned to go there early for like 5-6 hours to prepare for this, or just the normal 3 hours before the airport?
No, we, just like you said, I told her, baby, we are going to get there 5-6 hours early because I do not know. I try to prepare, plan, and I always do a worst case scenario. So I said, the last thing we want to do is miss the plane. So yeah, it's not going to be fun. Yes, it's going to be ugly. We're going to be tired. We're going to be hungry. We're going to be sick of carrying this luggage. It's going to be painful, but we got to get through it. And so we got there very early. And it's a good thing because when we got to the ticket counter, we found out that she had to pay a tax we didn't know about. So we paid an exit tax for her, and we had that with another counter. And everything that we did seemed to take an extra 20% of the time by the time we even got to immigration. And then, like I said, at immigration, it was an hour and a half for her as opposed to 5 minutes for me. Just to go through, hi, how are you, stamp, see you later, bye. And we only had about an hour before we had to get on the plane.
Wow.
That's how close it came. And we got there 6 hours ahead of time.
It's crazy. What kind of idea you can share to Filipino who want to leave the country for the first time? Just something like important you think that they should be understand, and know.
Okay, I think I'm better equipped than May to answer that because I researched it so much. Is just what I mentioned. There needs to be a tie to the country. If you are a Filipino female traveling alone, what it really boils down to is the immigration officer. First of all, there's the mechanical things that you must have. You must have a round-trip ticket. It's got to show that you're leaving, and it's got to show that you plan to come back. Number one. It's got to have an itinerary, a hotel that you're going to be staying at. Not that you're just going to land in the country and start wandering around. That's not going to happen. You have to have money in your pocket so that you're not destitute. I put $500 US in her purse. They never asked for it, but it was there. If they asked, what happens if you lose this guy? Well, I got money. And I have a hotel room. I have a return ticket. What else can I say? Anything that ties you to the community, you're really golden if you own property, or if you own a business, or if you own both. I mean, you're going to come home to your house. You're going to come home to your business. But if you're just a single Filipina, it really is just a matter of luck as to what immigration officer that you get. We have a friend, Mia. She went to Kuala Lumpur. And she got through, but she got put through the grinder for a while, but she made it through. There was a very famous TikTok video that a woman did where she was 30 some odd years old. She'd been out of the country 10, 15 times. She was going to Israel for Christmas, and the immigration officer asked her if she had her high school yearbook with her, or her college yearbook with her, or something like that. She's like, well, what did I travel with that for? And all he did was delay this woman until she missed her flight.
My God.
And that was a big deal at the Manila airport that made the news that this guy did this. We have found that leaving out of Cebu is a much softer way to leave than leaving out of Manila. No disrespect to the government here, but they're aware of the fact that they need to sensitize their officers. Some of them are overworked, some of them are tired, some of them may be in a bad mood. I don't know. That happens throughout the world. So I don't have the magic answer, but there are things, and if you go to an attorney prior to leaving, they can make what's called an affidavit. The affidavit not only lists out what I said, we're flying on this, we're staying here, we're coming back, or I'm coming back this day, and I also release the immigration and Thailand and the Philippines of anything that I might do that would be illegal or cause disruption. In other words, I'm responsible for my own actions. If I get to Thailand, or if I get to India, or if I get to Israel, then I'm on my own. If I go to jail, I'm not going to call you for help. If I get destitute, I'm not going to borrow money. So, money, a plan, and something that ties you to the country.
And through Cebu Airport.
I'm sorry?
choose the Cebu airport.
Choose the Cebu airport. Yes, it's a kinder, gentler airport.
So, but when you arrive in the Thailand, so there's no problem. Just stamping, chop, sign, and
Yeah.
leave.
Thailand was like, hurry up and get in here, spend some money.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah, and when we went to go renew, because we got stuck there was a typhoon,
Yeah.
and it turned out that we had to. Well, we went for 2 weeks. We stayed for 5 because there was a typhoon and all this other nonsense that happened, and we couldn't get out of the country if we wanted to because the airport was shut down. We went to immigration there just to extend our visa, and it was done in an hour. And we thought it was the next day. The guy said, come back at 5 o'clock. And so her and I went to go have coffee. We were sitting with one of my friends who happened to be there. And he said, what immigration say? I said, well, we're going to go back tomorrow at 5 o'clock. He goes, no. He says, you're going to go back today at 4 o'clock, and it's 4:30. So you need to hurry up and drink that coffee, pal. And he was right. We went back, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we got, there were our passports, everything stamped, ready, clean, ready to go, super efficient.
And if I'm not mistaken, Thailand have a new rule. When you enter to the Thailand, they give you 45 days or 30 days.
Yeah, but I'm always remiss in verbalizing anything because everything's in flux.
Yeah.
When we went, it was 30 days.
Oh, 30 days,
When we went back, if we had gone a couple weeks later, it would have been 45.
Oh.
So that's why we had to renew. Remember I said we stayed 5 weeks? On week number 4, when we were pushing that 30 days, we had to go to immigration just to be legal. And that's why it only took an hour.
Yeah.
Yes, to the best of my knowledge right now, you zip into Thailand, you get 45 days.
Yeah.
But that can change.
Yeah, definitely that can
Never
change.
take it as gospel. Never believe a YouTuber.
And now you guys travel, and do you have plan to travel more? And what country is on your list?
Your home country
My home country
Yeah.
is
Thank
on
you.
our list. Kuala Lumpur. We
Malaysia.
finally got our marriage certificate, and that only took 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months for waiting.
And so we were able to go down and change over some things from her maiden name to my last name. And going through, speaking of immigration and offloading and all that, what immigration told me here in 𝒕𝒍𝒂𝒃 was that if you're married, that really carries a lot of weight. So we show that certificate. That eliminates a lot of the nonsense that I just talked about. It used to be back in the day that they just thought it was, you were here, you got married out of convenience, you knew the girl for a week or the woman for a week, and you were taking her back and you were going to do whatever. But now they take it very, very seriously, and it has a lot more impact on you leaving the country. So we're not foreseeing any, not that we're gonna leave any stone unturned. We're still gonna do our due diligence, but the marriage certificate, I think, is gonna make it a lot easier. We are going to Kuala Lumpur, and we are going to visit your beautiful country.
Thank you.
Spend some time there and kick it around. And we are open-minded. We may not even remain living in the Philippines. We might decide that we love Kuala Lumpur, and we might even move there. Depends on the visa, depends on the requirements. We haven't gotten that deep into it. We do know that we can go there for 3 or 4 days, kick it around, see if we like it, like the people, like the places, like the budget, like the food, see all that, come back, regroup, and then go from there.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, thank you so much for taking time to be in my channel.
Thank you so much for having
Yeah,
us.
thank you so much too.
And May, don't talk so much next time. I never met a camera I didn't like.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It was so sweet to have us on your channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Baby
Thank you
Mae.
so much.
God
Bye-bye.
bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.